Pat, and I'm with Turner Homestead here in North Carolina, and welcome back to my studio. So today I'm going to be making wax melts, and I'm going to be making with IGI 6006. If you've seen another one of my videos, maybe two, I was calling it ICF 6006, but I don't know where I got the ICF from. That's not correct. It's ICI 6006. I started using this wax a little bit ago, and I really fell in love with it. It says on the container, or it comes in 10-pound slabs, that it's for containers and tea lights. This is a wax melt, and usually there's a different kind of wax for wax melts versus containers. But on Candle Science, it actually shows on their website, there's a lady and she is making candle melts with the 6006. So I tried it, and I've also seen Stanley Handcrafted. He also has made some, and he showed how they come out of the clamshell mold, and I think they come out really good. They pop open really good. They smell really great. That's what I like about it. The best is the hot throw, and the cold throw smells really good. Plus, you can use it for both candles and candle melts, so that is definitely a plus. So if you want to make both, you make a batch of candles, and you can also go ahead and make enough that you can make you some candle melts to go along with it. So that is definitely a plus. Now, I have mentioned in the other video that there is one downside that I see to it, and it's not that it won't come out of this, because it comes out of this really good, but after it's melted in my wax melt anyway, the one I use in the house, I have to scoop it out because it is soft. Even whenever it gets cold, really cold, maybe I'm just not putting enough in there, I don't really know, but I have to scoop it out. Or I let it cool down a little bit, and I'm able to pour it into aluminum foil, and then once it cools there, you're able to just peel the aluminum foil back, and you've got a nice little patty, or whatever you want to call it, that you can save and reuse again. So that's the only drawback I see, but it does have a lot of positives to it. So I'm going to use this wax today, and I've got a couple more waxes that I'm going to be making in the next few days. I've got some on the way. Hopefully it'll be here tomorrow, the next day. And then I'm going to compare them just to try to see exactly which one I like. So this is what I'm going to do first. I'm going to make this one, which is called my ditch bank, which is honeysuckle and jasmine. And I got this from Candle Science. And it smells really good. It really reminds me of when I was younger, walking out in the woods, whatever, following a ditch. And still, even today, there's honeysuckle around where I live now, because I live out in the country. But whenever I smelled it, I was like, wow, that brings me back to my childhood. So I named this one Southern Ditch Bank. And then after that, I'm going to make sea salt and orchid. Now, that is the name of this fragrance oil, and it also came from Candle Science. I don't have much, but I'm only going to make I think about half a pound of each one, which will be 3 or 4 candle melts. So, but this one smells really good, and this one I will be using embeds with these little shells here that I got from, I think Michael's, but I could be wrong. It could have been Hobby Lobby. So I'm going to just put a few of those in there, and also some sea salt, just to kind of jazz it up, because I think it looks really, really pretty. And then I'm going to have to make labels. I don't have labels for these yet. And also I'm using liquid dye. This is purple liquid dye that I got at Candle Science. And I've got some hunter green and some yellow. And I've used them quite a bit, so some of them I've messed up the labels, but anyway, they still work. So I got my wax melting, and I'm going to go ahead and get my clamshells out, and we'll get started. So it's going to take a little bit more for my wax to melt. I want it to get to about 185 degrees before I start pouring. So I'm going to go ahead and get my clamshells ready. These also, well, I'm not really sure. I started out buying them mostly from Candle Science, and But I did buy some more recently from somewhere, but they were identical. There was no difference in them at all. So, and I'm going to take 4 and have an extra one just in case. I'll try to figure it and measure it as closely as I can, so I won't be wasting anything. When I first started, everything I got came from Candle Science, and it's really nice. Number one, they're in Durham, North Carolina, and hey, I'm about 2 hours away. So I did used to go and pick it up, mostly when I had a big order of wax or something, because shipping is terrible. Well, shipping is even more terrible now. But I haven't really bought that much wax. I've still got a lot of my Golden brand and different things like that I had used previously. And so I really haven't had to buy that much wax. And I have bought some from different places. So my warning labels I got from there. I do know it would not be that difficult to make my own, but these I don't remember are not that expensive, and it's just so easy just to be able to peel them off and try not to tear them. That this is tape, so you might waste, I do usually waste one. So what I'm doing is just putting this warning label on the inside, so when you open it up, of course, it'll be there. And I try to center it pretty good. The outer label that I put on it is also square. It's a little bit bigger than this, so I do have a little bit of room to play. And like I say, I've got to make the labels for both of them, and I haven't done that yet. So to me, it's just easier to go ahead and do it now while the wax is getting hot than to wait afterwards. Which I know, and I have done this. For some reason, maybe there'll be a hole in the container, or you just spill, make a great big mess, and then I've kind of wasted a warning label plus the clamshell. But like I say, they were kind of inexpensive, and makes it super easy to get these done. And there's another one that got torn up. Okay. Okay, I'm going to check the temperature. I've noticed in my other videos that when I turn my back to you, the sound gets really low. So try not to, I've kind of got everything moved around a little bit. So it's still heating up. I'm going to turn it up a little bit. I'm not sure because my camera is still pointing up that you're able to see, but this is how the warning labels comes from Candle Science. So it comes on a nice little roll and makes it super easy to use. Okay, so the first one I'm going to make is the Southern Ditch Bank. So I'm going to get my fragrance oil here and my stirrer stick. So I put everything in a bag so I don't have to keep wasting everything. And go ahead and measure out. Well, let's do some figuring first. Okay, I'm going to do 8 ounces. Well, let's try a little bit different than that, okay? Hold that thought. Okay, my wax is still heating up, so I'm going to figure how much fragrance oil I'm going to need for this. So I know I'm going to use 8 ounces, and I'm not really sure how many exactly. It'll make either 3 or 4 wax melts, but I know that they weigh between 2.6 ounces and 2.7. So I'm going to go with the 2.7. So I'm going to divide 8 by 2.7. And that comes to 2.96. So that's not quite 3. but I've got to add a half an ounce of the fragrance oil. Let's see, 8 times 6% is 0.48. So you might as well say 0.5 in the fragrance oil. So actually that would end up being 8.5 divided by 2.6 equals 3.26. So again, that may leave just a little bit, but we'll see. So that's why I will probably get something else just in case I have a little bit left over. I do hate to waste. So hold on. So I have this little silicone container here, and what I'll do is if I have any extra, I'll just pour it in there and just use it for myself or use it as a sample. So I really didn't use my pencil at all. So nothing really changed from what I thought. So we'll see how close I am. So I'm going to go ahead and tare my scale, which is the same thing as zero for anybody that don't know. And if you go ahead and set your pot on it, or whatever you're going to use to pour your fragrance and your oil in, then when it comes on, it's at zero. So you don't really have to tare it. You just have to make sure it's on zero, and then you can pour your fragrance oil in there. So I'm going to put 0.5 of this honeysuckle and jasmine in here. Okay, that is exactly 0.5. So my wax is getting there. It's 160 degrees, but I'm going to turn it up just a little bit. With this lid on, it won't take any time before it'll be at the right temperature. So after I get them poured, then I'm going to do my little trick with my with my sticks, my skewers here. I've got one for green and one for yellow. Again, not to throw away anything. And we'll see what kind of mess we can make with that. Okay, my wax is now 187 degrees and it's a little cool in here. So I'm going to go ahead and measure out half a pound. So since it's already got something in it, the picture has something in it, but it cut off by itself, the scale did, so when I cut it back on, it still tared itself to zero. So I'm good. Just always make sure you got zero and make sure it's not touching anything in the back. I might need to move it back a little bit. And now I'm going to go ahead and put in half a pound of wax, 8 ounces. Is 8.1, close enough. So now just go ahead and stir it for a couple of minutes. You can see this has got a little bit of a color to it, a little bit of yellow, so you can tell that it's just not even mixed yet. That's why you have to stir it for a couple of minutes. But again, when it's a little cool in here, it don't take it long to cool on down. And this wax, they recommend that you pour it between 165 and 175 after heating it up to 185. So when I just checked it, it was 170. More, I went and changed the angle of the camera. And it's already down to 157 degrees. But it looks like it's well incorporated. That's the main thing that I want. So, switch hands here. So when I did my figuring, I think I figured 2.7 one time and 2.6 the next. So, but I guess that might make it come out right, because who knows. And then there's a little bit left, and I have no idea how much is left in there. I put it back on the scale, and I think it should be right, because it was already weighed and it said there's 0.7. So there is no way that would ever fill up another clamshell. So I'm going to fill up a couple of these. There we go. So maybe if I had have gone with the 2.6 both times, might have been right. I don't know. But anyway, it is what it is. So I'm going to go ahead and clean this one off. Out. Okay, it's been a little bit since I made the trial, this one here. So I don't really remember when I put the green and the yellow in it, but I'm pretty sure it has to be before it starts getting really hard. So I think I'll do the yellow first. So all I did was just dip it in just at least a little bit. And the yellow's not going to show it much to start with. But it kind of goes in like a blob. But then you can take it and take that one little blob and move it around anywhere you want. One of my lavender candle melts over there, I was showing it to my daughter, and she said it looked like a lady's face, and lo and behold, it did. I do know one thing that I did, and it probably isn't the best place to stick it in here, but that's what I'm going to do. Let me get something to wipe this off with. Because I don't want to keep sticking the stick back in there. So let's try this one. It's really just trial and error, just a little bit of a learning experience. It takes a minute for it to release. I'm not sure how well you're seeing this, but I promise you it will show up, and the green will show up a lot better than the yellow, but the yellow will get stronger the more it sits. So I started out making soap probably 5 years ago, and of course we love making patterns and designs in our soap, so this was just kind of natural that I want to do this also. So the next one I'm going to do with the embeds, there's a little bit more trick to that one, because I've got to figure just the right time to put the embeds in, especially the shells, because they will just kind of float down to the bottom. So I wouldn't mind getting a little bit more yellow in this one. Like I put more in the first one, and I guess because I was able to get more on my stick by sticking it down in there. But I don't want it to be all yellow either, so we're going to quit with that. And now it won't take just a little bit of the green. There's one drop. There's just a tiniest little bit on the end of this. And if you just kind of leave it in one place, it seems to take a lot more off than if you're moving it around from place to place more. So I love this liquid dye. I mean, it can be messy, and I have been completely green, red, whatever with using it. Oh, see, once you get like a blob there, you just take it and pull it down, just like if you were making candles, making soap. So here I'm just going to make circles instead of straight lines. Oh, that one's really pretty. I might need to swirl that one some. Oh yeah. Okay, put just a little bit more green right in the center of this one. And you could just about write your name in it. Or we could. So it's like a work of art, and I love art. And I better quit, or it's gonna be all different colors. And I think I probably used the same stick with the yellow and the green, but I kept wiping it off, so it does not matter. So I'm gonna see if I can get the camera over here and let you look at it a little bit better. Okay, so here's what they're looking like. That might be an ugly face there. I don't really know. You can just look and just find all kinds of stuff. It's like looking at clouds and get all different designs there. So again, you could take the stick and if you wanted to, like this one up here in the corner. And nope, I wouldn't want to do that now because it's set up too long. So that kind of answers that there is just a few minutes, couple of minutes maybe, that you could do it and everything is still liquid, but because they are already solidifying. But there's my southern ditch bank. Yeah, and this, I must have messed that up. When I picked it up, I thought about that. I went back and looked at the video and I was like, well, that wasn't too smart, but anyhow, it was just leftovers. So now I'm going to set up and do the other. Okay, I'm going to do the same with my sea salt and orchid as I did with the other. I'm going to go ahead and set the picture on this scale and turn it on, and it will read 0. And check the temperature. It got a little hot, so I propped the lid, and now it's got a little bit cooler. So, but I'm pleased the way these turned out, and they smell so good. So this is going to be a little trickier, and I do hope. I probably need to go ahead and measure this and make sure that I have got 0.5. I don't care that I really like having some left over because I can take this in the house then and use it myself. I can just join those two, and it's about like having 1/3 of one of these clam melts. So, clam shells. Okay, so that is 0.5. Actually went to 0.6, but close enough. Wipe this off. Oh, that does smell so good. I don't really know what sea salt and orchid should smell like, but somebody must have figured it out. So let's see what this is. I need to get it just a little bit warmer. So I'm going to turn it back up a little bit. Okay. It went from 160 or whatever to 194. So this was still, this says 0.6, so I'm going to have to zero this one out. And I'm going to go ahead and put 8 ounces in. I think I've said this before, I really want my husband to get me a bigger spout or whatever, because it seems like it really cools down by the time it gets out of the spout. But then I like to have a little bit of control too, because it goes from 0 to 8 really fast, and that right there is 8 ounces. So I'm going to go ahead and stir this. Seems like this one may not have been as dark as the other one I just made, so I couldn't really see that it separated in the wax like the other one. It's already cooled down to 172. But I do want to stir it just a little bit more. Recommendation is to stir it for 2 minutes, and that is written on the wax itself. But 2 minutes, and I think mine would be so hard I couldn't pour it. So as long as it's incorporated and it looks like it really is, then it's good to go. So as long as it's still 167, so I think I'm good to let it get down to 160 or 65. But I'm about ready to pour it too. And like I say, just want to be a learning experience with the with putting the embeds in. So here we go. And let's see, just check it one more time. 165 exactly. So I'll go ahead and get this out. You have to be really careful or you can go over and make a big mess. So I'm going to just see what's left in here. See if it's the same. 0.6. So pretty much the weight of my fragrance oil is what I'm having left over, which is fine. So now I'm just going to have to let that sit a little bit because I can't do anything yet. Even the salt would go all the way to the bottom. So I'm going to go ahead and clean my pot and be back in a minute. Okay, I was about to forget the dye, and it may already be too late. I hope not, because I've sat here and let it cool. So let's see. No, I'm still good. And this is the orchid part. Yeah, and I never have my. So like that. If you get a big piece of wax, I'm gonna have to wipe that off. That's kind of a pretty neat little feather there, though. And just make it just one little drop. Not even a drop. I mean, it's just almost nothing. Then I got me a heart here. Let's see what I can do over here. Say I better. That definitely is a heart. I'm not sure I like anything that's that predictable though. So let's mess it up. Yeah, make it look more like a spider web or something. And then if there's a heart in it, it's just an extra little treat. So this one right here is a little heavy up there, but it's going to stay heavy. It looks like. That'd be the great thing about this, though. Each one is different. There would definitely be no two alike. I could make two alike if I wanted to. So, but this is about it. It's getting a little solid right now, but I still don't think it's solid enough yet to start putting any embeds yet. But I'm going to pick a few of these out. The smaller ones, the better. But I like also the kind of colorful ones. Let us show up a little bit better. And of course the sea salt. Let's see. Just put a little bit in the lid here. Now I can get out when I need it. It might not be enough, but we'll see. So I've got to give it another minute. Okay, I'm going to test this first and see what it does if I put a little bit of the sea salt up there. It was to fall on through the wax, and I know it would. But it's staying up there really good. Okay, that's about all the sea salt that I want to put up there. Now, I'm going to get brave and try to put one of these up there. And it may fall right through the bottom. But it didn't. So far, so good. And that one went in a little bit, but I think I pushed it in with the stick. But you want it in enough that, and I'm kind of going from one to the other because I don't want this one to get neglected and not have any on him. So it's getting a little tacky. Okay, I think I'm gonna call that one done. And let's see, I think the embeds went in better than the other one that I did. The other one, which some of them may not stay. Some of them are in pretty good. I'm scared to mess with them too much. So the other one, a couple of them came off. But I do like the way it looked anyway. Maybe I'll put the embeds in a better place. Not really sure, but they're there. Is what it looks like. And so they're in there pretty good, including the sea salt. So now we're just going to have to let it sit up, and I'll show you the results in a little bit. Okay, now I'm going to make a label, or a couple labels actually. Okay, so I use the Avery labels. I have used them for a long time. So it's just easy for me because it's what I'm used to. And I don't really have the best printer, but it's what I got, and it does pretty good. Okay, so you can save all of your projects up here, and that is what I love about it. And then it's easy just to change one. So I have created this candle label here, and I just put a little rectangle in between. So I use this, and then like this is Sweet Child of Mine, Seaside Wedding, and I think there's a blue, oh yeah, Blue Gingham. There's the other one. So I guess I'm going to try to do that, and I'm going to call, the first one I'm going to try to do is Southern Ditch Bank. Don't know how that's going to work, but what I do is I just call up the same one and just say I'm going to edit it. To me, it's just easier. Now what I use is their gallery, and whether I will be able, they seem to think ditch bank should be 2 words. Don't know, maybe it should be. And let's see, let's go back and change the color. I think maybe green. That ain't dark. That is not dark enough. Let's try the color wheel. Let's try that. Okay. So now let's find an image. Avery Gallery. So what I'm going to do is go to Flowers and Plants. And I probably will not see anything that looks like honeysuckle if I even know what it looked like. I have used these before. which I think is kind of pretty. So let's turn this around like that. I still want a little something else. If I can find just a little bit of greenery. I wish I could change colors. Well, where did it go? That. Let's see what that'll do. Somewhere. Oh, it's going to be huge. No. None of that matches. But a ditch bank can have about anything growing on it. Nope, you did that again. I want this. Copy. Paste. That's kind of pretty. Okay, let's save that. And it may still supposed to be all one word. I don't know. Anyway. Okay, so I got my project saved. And now, of course, they would print it for you, and it's always saying that it's not in the correct area or whatever, and it won't. Sometimes I do have to print it again, and I know you can probably just print one, but I'll just go ahead and print the whole thing, because sometimes it'll be off at the top, but by the time it gets to the bottom, it'll be correct. Make sure it's in color, and fingers crossed. Okay, so let's see. I think they might be pretty good. Ta-da! Yep. Some of them are a little bit better than the others probably, but I like that. So let me go get one of the others. I filed them away yesterday and we'll put it together. Okay, so I located my base, and I got this idea from Alan at Black Tie Barn, that he does something similar, or he did. And I did order one of his candles, and he actually did use this where you print one. I mean, probably he was probably more sophisticated than mine, but it's the same idea. So then you don't have to redo the whole thing, just part of it, and then just try to center it in the middle the best you can. And that one wasn't too straight. Let's try that again. I can see what I'm doing here. Okay, that looks better. And I've got 3. Don't have all my lights turned on. That's why it's a little dark back here. Okay, there we go. And they're probably ready to put the labels on there. I'll go change seat. Okay, so this is the way they've turned out. This one, it's got orange in it. It's all different colors here. that is pretty. And both of them, I mean, they may continue to change colors. All three of them, actually. Yeah. And even this one, I mean, it had orange in it, the original. So it just, I think it's because it's so concentrated, the liquid is. So the main thing with these, when you put the labels on, you need to make sure you got them the right way. I have put them on upside down. And so you close them up. Here's that one. And then what was the top is now the bottom. So because some people, if they, you know, buy them, put them in a shop, whatever, they use them to hang up here, and you want the tag to be the correct way. So I redid the one that was not straight. It was just too crooked even for me. So now I'm just going to try to center it to cover up the other warning label on the inside. There's one. And it has it as 2.6 ounces. Turner Homestead, hand poured in small batches from our homestead in Mount Auburn, North Carolina. And let's see. There's two. And one more. So I'm really pleased the way these turned out, and even the way I just made that label on the fly turned out pretty good too. So now I have seen that if you try to open them up now, the smell of them or something, and again, I'm probably talking with my head cut off, then you can really crack them if you don't just leave them alone for, I don't know, there's no need to open them for 24 to 48 hours, if even then. So these, here's my sea salt and orchid that's turned out pretty good. One little piece of sea salt came off, but I'm going to still leave it open. I've got to go make the label, and I probably will not record it. I'll just come back and show you the results, and then we'll be through for today. Okay, so I have designed sea salt and orchid. I think it turned out pretty good. I don't know how good you can see it, but I'll give you a closer look in a minute. So I'm going to peel these off. I would like to, if it had come a little bit further over the side, but so they're not perfect. But then they're not perfect when I put it on here either. It's like it must be getting dark outside. It's getting darker and darker in here, and I still didn't turn those other lights on. I need more light in here. So I need 3 of these. You're amazed what you find. I had never seen the seashells, but I had never gone looking for them, and then I found them. And instead of like putting, you know, like 4 ones like I did on the other one, I kind of bunched them together there, and turned out pretty good. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and close these up. I already tested that one and nothing fell out. All good so far. And this one was the last one. The hay is all in there. So I mean, of course, there is some that's like embedded in there a little bit, but you want it to stay at least until they start breaking it apart, whoever gets it, the consumer. And I do want them to enjoy it. So yeah, I am really hard to please, and I have changed the name of my shop so many times, and my labels, I keep changing my labels, but this is a pretty good idea here. That way I don't have to type everything over and over again. And it is a soy blend wax. I just got to remember, if I do change them and use the just 100% soy, then I'll have to be sure to change that. Okay. I'll go get the camera and give you a close-up of that. Okay, so here's how it turned out. Again, I don't have the best light in here now, but I think they turned out pretty. And here's my other ones. So it seems like it's taken a long time, but I've been recording, and the next, you know, if I had to make a bunch of them, it would be a whole lot quicker. I think the most time consuming, of course, is making the labels and also the design, but I think they turned out really pretty. Okay guys, that's it for this video. I hope you watched it all the way to the end. If you do, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe, because I will be making more videos. If you like this kind of content, I'm trying to grow my business, and I do have a Shopify store, and I don't have these in there yet. That will be another day. I will put them on my Shopify store. I have a variety of things there now. Some candle melts. No candles yet because I'm still working on them. But some jewelry that I did not make. Some pillows that I've made. And candle melts. And that's about it. But I will definitely put these on the next day or so. So again, thanks for watching. And I hope to see you next time. Thanks.